crone and maiden standing behind the gate. That was in Gable's riddle.
You must be Nick Vard, eh? Poor wretch.
How many more times am I gonna have to poke around in corpses and shit for that damn cradle?
Hmm? God be with you, Sir Knight. I'm Henry, and I serve the Lord of Lipa.
And which one might that be? You see, I know several of them. It's an old and respected house.
Well, my lord resides in Ratai, on Sasau.
Him I don't know, but I rode with the old Captain Chenyak of Lipa when Emperor Charles was still with us.
Forgive me, sir, but that's before my time.
Well, of course, half a century has passed since those glorious battles against the Hungarian troops. And all I'm left with today is debts.
You have debts? Why? Because of the war?
On the contrary, when my neighbor Deslav was on his deathbed, he begged me to deliver his inheritance to his nephew. But that troublemaker is all fighting in Poland somewhere.
A will is a sacred affair. But are you really going to go all the way to Poland?
Certainly not. I'll leave the money in the hands of a monastery and be done with it. Problem is, I incurred a bloody fine on the way and had to pay it out of the inheritance.
So you fought for Emperor Charles, the father of our King Wenceslas?
Indeed I did. My boy, he was a pious and clever king, and as cunning as the devil.
So you stand with Wenceslas too?
Always. The apple has fallen far from the tree. Young Wenceslas is just a foppish coxcomb. Well, safe to say, it's all going to the bloody dogs.
Oh, I have to get on the road again.
Farewell, and Godspeed. Phew, it's just you.
Greetings to you.
And that pissed him off and he wants his revenge. He complained to the bailiff. Say...
I've travelled half the region on account of your saltpeter. So I think it's time you told me something about yourself.
I think by now you know who I am, and what my place in the world is. This is where I stand, and over there is my mill. I'm just an ordinary miller, with an extraordinary interest in the way the world runs.
Well, at least tell me why you've settled in Lower Semine, of all places.
Isn't it obvious? It's the arse end of the world. It's peaceful here. At least it was until you came around and started asking questions.
What's new around here?
Nothing much, lad. At least I haven't heard about anything.
I have the book for you.
Well, I must admit, I haven't had an apprentice this handy in a long time. Zinnik has nothing on you.
I had a peek inside. The pictures are nice, but what do you want to learn from them?
You'll find out soon enough. Show me that miraculous thing. This really is something. But why is it all covered in shit, for fuck's sake?
Let's just say the scribe didn't have it. It actually wasn't even in the castle. Under it, really.
Oh, refining saltpeter. Boil wine and alum. Grind. Ah, of course, it makes sense. I'll study the rest on the way. Well, the last chapter of our story of knowledge awaits us. The grand finale.
So what now? Do you have another job for me?
Charcoal. Sulfur from Hermes Trismegistos. Saltpeter from the carcass pit. As long as Black Bertolt didn't make any mistakes in his calculations, we have everything.
What Bertold? Oh, God damn it, Krazer, what's going on here? I'm tired of flying back and forth like a rag on a stick. I won't be led around by the nose. Will you finally tell me what's going on?
Believe it or not, all this secrecy had its reasons. But now I don't have to hide anything from you. It's time. We'll meet with the others in the lair, and there you'll learn the whole truth. You go ahead. I'm going to get a few things ready here.
All right then. I hope you keep your word this time.
All right. Careful. Stop that whistling.
Go! Whoa! Whoa! Ka! Quick!
What'll happen now?
Our last supper, with only one but very filling course, awaits us.
Crazel, please. For once, just once, tell me what's actually going on.
And rob myself of enjoying your blissful ignorance? Not a chance. Tell me yourself, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, hopefully I'll finally find out what the point of all this was.
Or not, until you try another dose of niter.
I wouldn't do that to him. Not today. Bonnie will start today. At least I'll finally see if she understood my teachings. Bonnie?
First of all, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the whole gang for all the work you've done. We could never have finished the job without you. We found 2 new partners, you and Monarch here. It's good to have someone to rely on. So, it's time we started being honest with you, so you can finally learn the whole truth.
Not yet. Let's pull up that uppity bastard's leg a bit longer. That's the fun part.
No, Z-Neck. First of all, I rather like them legs of his. And secondly, I think we've put him through enough suffering. This whole time, you've been collecting ingredients and clues for us. But, so you wouldn't go nosing around, we always told you it was for something different than it actually was.
The miller here calls it tackets.
Tactics, you idiot. And everything worked out according to plan. So today we're finally close to our great success. With the help of Hermes Trismegistos and his successors, we'll finally complete the dream of all alchemists. Our magnum opus.
Exactly, Bonnie.
Magnum opus. A great work of alchemy. You're trying to make the Philosopher's Stone.
I see you've learned something after all. But no, the Philosopher's Stone isn't our goal.
Let's see then, Henry. What is it you think we're making here?
Some kind of weapon?
Well, Henry's not too far from the truth after all, don't you think? Actually, he's pretty spot on. Although weapons were our last order of business. Let's start at the beginning. My father was a miller as well, but I was never much interested in the trade. Even as a young boy, I loved running around Lower Samine and investigating everything living and dead. And I had a lot of questions about everything. Then my mother, God rest her soul, decided it'd be best for me to go to study in Prague. As soon as I grew up and gained a bit of sense, I packed my bags and left.
You must have had a real good mother for her to support you like that.
I'd say she didn't have much of a choice. My father was always busy, so she was the one who had to listen to all my questions. I met a lot of remarkable people at the university, and my thirst for knowledge kept growing. But in the end, it only took a year of all that pretentious, scholarly blathering and hypocritical nonsense for me to realize I wouldn't learn anything proper there. Most of the students and masters are just a bunch of dogmatic fools. They have their own truth, and those who want to know more or ask the wrong questions fall into disfavor, as was my case.
You left your studies?
And I'm glad I did. The most important science is not subject to any religious dogma. And, of course, it's not taught at any university.
You mean alchemy?
Exactly. The art of combination and dissolution. The key to understanding the very nature of the world. There's only one queen of science. Alchemy. I returned to the mill in Lower Samine and started a new life.
What did your parents say when you returned from your studies?
My mother had already passed away. All my father said was, "I knew you'd be back." And he sent me to haul sacks of flour. I think in the end he was glad to have someone to take over the mill from him. From then on, alchemy became my true passion. I brought a few important books from Prague. I started with the most difficult thing. I tried to create gold.
That was pretty daring of you.
As you might expect, it didn't work. But after a few tries, I managed to create something entirely different. Once I tried mixing sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter. I had a candle burning next to me. A gust of wind scattered the mixture, and all of a sudden, bang! I almost shit myself, I tell you. But then I realized I'd unwittingly created a miracle. Explosive black powder.
So I was right. You're making weapons.
No, it's about much more than that. We're all in on it now.
I couldn't continue my experiments on my own, but Bonnie and Zinnik did a few little jobs for me.
So he initiated us.
But we just still didn't know how to do it right and not blow ourselves up in the process.
And we used up a huge amount of saltpeter and sulfur.
By the way, the manuscript from that Hermes Trismegistos was our shopping list and price list for material from Kuttenberg.
Only we didn't know correct proportions. I looked up a few of my former fellow students and brought it up with them. And we found out that before us, some monk had already made the discovery.
Some fella called Black Bertold. And that he even started writing a book called
Feuerwerkbuch.
We can believe our luck when we found out there's a copy of it right here at Trotsky.
And you know the rest.
It's a discovery that will change history. In the right hands, it can make miracles happen. All it takes is a spark, and a storm of fire will sweep away the old world order. It will wipe out stupidity and ignorance, once and for all.
And what will happen now?
As I said, we're about to have our last supper on our journey to satisfy our hunger for knowledge. A feast of smoke and fire. Black Bertold never finished his book, because he never had enough ingredients for his last great experiment. But now, thanks to you, we do. We can finally finish Bertold's work and finish his book. We'll see with our own eyes what a barrel of black powder can do. I hope you're as excited as I am.
Before we get started, there's something I want to know. This book, Feuerwerkbuch, what's written in it?
Everything you'd want to know about black powder. How to mix it in the proper ratio. How to store it. How to light it properly. and especially how to use it in warfare, because that's the most important part, after all.
Do you really need that much saltpeter?
We do. Saltpeter makes up almost 3/4 of the mixture. Not even all the cows in the region could produce enough for us once we really get started with manufacturing.
What is it you're going to do with this powder?
During wartime, like it is now, a flammable and explosive mixture like this has more uses than you can imagine. If we had a few big barrels of the stuff, we could demolish Trotsky if we wanted to. And maybe we will.
All of us here are truly passionate about the idea of a new world, and now it's within our grasp.
What is it you studied at the university?
I was supposed to become a preacher.
That fits you. Maybe you'd even be a good preacher.
Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't.
God has a path prepared for each of us. And each of us here decided not to follow it.
I was supposed to be a dyer, but I was too lazy to work 6 days a week and soak my hands in lye.
I was supposed to become a nun, but I didn't want to give up the booze and fellas.
And I've already told you everything. The world is what you make it.
How did a scholar and an alchemist become a thief?
Prague is a big city, and a poor student has no chance of getting a decent place to sleep or even something to eat. Learning to shop with 5 fingers was the first requirement for survival. We're all masters of our own destiny.
I've heard enough. Now I want to see that with my own eyes.
Let's do it then. Bonnie, is everything ready?
Indeed it is. We can get started. Long live the beautiful new world.
Looks like it ain't working.
I'd say it works just fine.
This will change history.
What? I can't hear a thing. But I'd say it works just fine.
As long as you listen to me and keep the proportions right, you won't fuck it up.
No splinters, white ash.
We've been through a lot together. Will you finally tell me more about yourself?
Have you not grown tired of all this constant questioning? I've told you plenty already. And if I left something out, it was for a good reason.
Well, I know about the university, the alchemy, your desire to change the world, but I don't know anything about you as a person.
That's a question I'd like to know the answer to myself. To find yourself, and who you really are. Isn't that the only true meaning of life?
What's new around here?
Nothing much, lad. At least I haven't heard about anything.
You really led me on about the gunpowder magazine, didn't you? A golem made of dough, souls inside saltpeter, the secrets of light and shadow. That was all just empty talk, wasn't it?
Not exactly. It's all based on the real philosophy of the Jewish Kabbalah. I studied the writings of Bonaventura and Dietrich von Freiberg, but it was never in my interest to put their theories into practice. But they work brilliantly as a cover-up, don't you think?
I really thought you'd have a golem made from dough walking around the mill, or that I could become invisible.
Ah, but black powder is no less a miraculous creation.
So for the last time, Crazel, what now?
I'll do what I promised, and what will most likely be my fate. I'm going to gather together all the knowledge I've acquired and finish Black Berthold's book. I'll finish his opus.
Uh-huh. And what about me?
That's up to you, Henry. You're a free man. Lord Samin has no hold over you, and never did. You know, the inevitability of God's plan takes no interest in people like you and me. We'll always be little people, beneath it all.
That sounds somehow hopeful in a peculiar way, I'd say. Now I'm even happier about the great thing we've accomplished here.
The ideal conclusion, I'd say. Maybe it's time to carry sacks at a different mill. But if you're still interested in learning a bit more, drawing from the well of alchemical knowledge...
I know where to find you.
Indeed.
Crazel?
The fuse didn't catch immediately.
Black powder? I'd never have expected that from Crazel.
Imagine, that monarch of ours is half deaf.
That dog of yours? What does that have to do with the gunpowder magazine?
Just that I was wondering that the explosions didn't bother him at all. At least he won't suffer here. And now I'm not surprised he was so unhappy with that bastard Vasarik. Hey, how did you know what we were actually doing?
I didn't exactly.
But you said weapons. How did you find out? Did we let it slip somehow?
It was clear to me the moment I saw that book. I figured the illustrations were about either painting the walls with something to make them invisible, or demolishing them with some kind of flames.
Whew! That means it's all on Crazel, and I played my role properly. Anyway, you did a damn fine job. You deserve a nickname from me, like I promised. We're going to call you Sourdough.
Sourdough?
Well, when you came here, you were kind of unrefined, grey, nothing much. But as you gained experience, you rose and rose until you've risen into a companion we need not be ashamed of. Take care then, Sourdough, and come back and visit sometime. God be with you, and have a pleasant evening.
What are you doing here?
I'm resting. There has been so much to do lately that even I, too, must rest before proceeding. Like peasants at harvest time. That is hard labor, too.
What kind of work do you do?
I assist people, sometimes with their pain, their suffering, their hatred. It varies from one soul to the next.
I don't understand.
No one truly comprehends my words until the time is ripe, and when they awaken and understand. There is no time to tell anyone. There is no time to explain it to anyone, because their time has come.
Time for what?
If I may, I have a question for you too.
You may.
We have seen each other many times. Why have you left it until now to stop by?
I don't remember seeing you before.
Really? I have always been with you whenever you... Well, never mind. Just consider how many times you have had me by your side. I am leaving now. Good luck, Henry of Skalitz.
You know my name. And you know where I'm from.
I was there. It kept me very busy.
God be with you. What would you like?
What's new around here?
Nothing new. It's quiet here, fortunately.
What's new around?
Nothing new. It's quiet.
Can I spend the night here?
We're not
I'll pay you well.
for a few.
Let's agree. Satisfied?
That's not enough. Agreed. There's plenty of room on the hay.
Quick! Easy, easy. Nice and slow.
Are you
Don't
blind?
you see I'm walking?
You almost ran into me.
God! God!
eyes deceive me, or is it Henry again? Stop for a while, my good man.
What a coincidence. Greetings.
Fancy teasing that brain of yours? You know the drill by now. What are the odds of that? We meet again!
Riddler Barley.
The very same! And I have a new riddle.
Look, do you really roam around all alone? Don't you have any friends or family?
No, I don't. All I had was Wag the dog, and even him I lost.
Yes, you told me about him. I'm sorry about that.
I buried him not far from Visoka, down Suchdal way. Do you know the place? There's this little spring by the path in the woods. Lots of animals stop to drink there. He loved that place, and sometimes I drop by to talk to him when I'm in the area.
You look like you know your way around these parts. Where's the best tavern?
That's a tough one, if it's a meal you're after. The Emperor Charles in Kuttenborough. But the prettiest wench is at that small inn in Takov. I had the luckiest dice in Zhelyov, and the best sleep in a bed in Lorets. I can still smell the hops and ale, and the window looked out on Sedlets Monastery. Lovely.
I'm curious to hear what you have up your sleeve today.
I'll tell you, but first we have to decide what's at stake. You solved the last riddle, and I lost the bet. Let me try my luck again.
All right, let's bet. Tell me what your riddle is then.
Listen close. A bailiff has 12 men join up for service one day. The bailiff was glad, but soon discovered that he didn't have enough gear for them in the armory. So those 12 men filed onto the square for the next morning's roll call. 6 of them were wearing body armor, 4 had helmets. Only 3 of them wore both a helmet and body armor. Now, tell me, how many men were unlucky enough not to have either a helmet or armor?
Can you repeat it for me?
A bailiff has 12 men join up for service one day. The bailiff was glad, but soon discovered that he didn't have enough gear for them in the armory. So those 12 men filed onto the square for the next morning's roll call. 6 of them were wearing body armor, 4 had helmets. Only 3 of them wore both a helmet and body armor. Now, tell me, how many men were unlucky enough not to have either a helmet or armor?
Can you repeat it for me?
A bailiff has 12 men join up for service one day. The bailiff was glad, but soon discovered that he didn't have enough gear for them in the armory. So those 12 men filed onto the square for the next morning's roll call. 6 of them were wearing body armor, 4 had helmets. Only 3 of them wore both a helmet and body armor. Now, tell me, how many men were unlucky enough not to have either a helmet or armor?
Can you repeat it for me?
A bailiff has 12 men join up for service one day. The bailiff was glad, but soon discovered that he didn't have enough gear for them in the armory. So those 12 men filed onto the square for the next morning's roll call. 6 of them were wearing body armor, 4 had helmets. Only 3 of them wore both a helmet and body armor. Now, tell me, how many men were unlucky enough not to have either a helmet or armor?
5.
You're right! I knew your talents were wasted on swordplay. You know what comes next. What's it to be? Coin or knowledge?
I'd be glad to hear more of your wisdom.
So what's it to be this time? The art of drinking? Or some learning for the wayfarer?
What wisdom do you have for the wayfarer?
Much grows in the forest, but beware toadstools and true lovers not. You can pick them to be sure, but don't even think about eating them. You're still here?
I'm afraid I must be going.
Me too. God be with you.
Go! Quick! Ka! Go! Ka! I should go back. Ka! Go! Ka! Go! Die! Die! Keep it up. Die! Die!
Ka! Quick! Quick! God!
Whoa, whoa.
Ja! Go! Ja! Ka!
Whoa, whoa.
Do I know you?
You don't remember me, you fucker. Fuck!
Somebody please!
I've been waiting for you.
I feel quite hungry!
You're no match for us, fucker. Show your stuff.
Do it!
I've been waiting for...
It's a slaughter!
I feel quite hungry!
And at the dawn of the seventh day, a rider on a white steed appeared and rescued me.
What did you say? What steed?
Oh, nothing. I was just thanking you. If it weren't for you, I'd have given up the ghost.
Don't mention it. I was glad to help.
So valiant and yet so modest. You are definitely worthy.
Worthy of what?
The rare opportunity I'm about to offer you. I purvey wares from the most mysterious ends of the earth, the water of life, a magical cudgel, a stone that turns anything into gold, and all sorts of other wonders. All this could be yours, and for you, my hero, at a bargain price.
I think I'll be going now. You take care.
Whoa!
Look what I have for you. Quick! 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 God! Go! God! Quick! God! Go! Come on! Die!
Whoa! Whoa! us! Do it! In God's name!
Two sandstone guards, just like in Gable's rhyme. A mighty rock between the sandstone guards, that fits. But what does give one's heart to God mean? I'll need a spade for this. Is this really it? A piece of Brunswick's armor? And what's this? A piece of parchment?